tell the story of the past 5 years. We believe it is better for the story to be told now than later. We won't put the pen in the hand of another person to come and write the story that he or she does not know. So this is going to be largely interactive. And like we've all agreed, it's a one-on-one between the journalist and the Vice Chancellor. But before that, I want to quickly introduce our people that are here, and I will be starting with the principal officers of the university. I know the journalists, you are no strangers to us, but for the sake of formality, I will still introduce to you us, the Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor ADESEGUN, FATUSI. And also here this morning, we have the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic, Professor Rose Angela Nwuba. All of them are no strangers to you. We have the Registrar of the University, Mr. Imoleayo Adeniro. Also in our midst is the Bursar of the University, Mr. MSO Shitu. Sir, the journalists we have invited, we have chosen the Guardian newspaper for this exercise because of the academic leaning of the newspaper, and this is an academic environment. We also have Mr. Peter Dada from the Punch newspaper. Punch is the most widely circulated newspaper in this country, and we believe our story will get to every nook and cranny of the society. We have Mrs. Adegeye also in our midst from Reality Life magazine, also for a purpose, because of proper documentation and their audience too. They also need to get to know the story to reach the eastern part of this country. And that is where the sun is very strong in this country. Sitting next to the sun is Mr. Akintunde Jacob, also from Business Day. We also move to the north to bring the leadership newspaper also to this forum. So we have moved across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country to ensure the story we want to tell today gets to those that need to listen to our story. So I welcome everybody here, and I welcome all the members of staff. I recognize the legal officer of the university, Barrister Lamide, is also seated at the back there, and all the members of PR team and the media team. We are all welcome to this session. So the rules of engagement is that they will ask their questions. We asked them before now whether we should do prepared questions, and what they told me is that no, they want to relate with the VC because they know spontaneously what it will give them. They will love it. So you are all welcome to this event.
Good morning, Mr. VC, sir, and the principal officers of the best specialized university in Nigeria. I want to congratulate the VC for on the successful tenure. And then you have some days left in this school. So you are as good as an outgoing VC, sir. I have some questions here, but let me just, for the sake of others, let me just ask for the first 3. Number 1, sir, is that before you came to this school, we have been coming, and we know how the school was in terms of infrastructure, physical infrastructure in particular. Now, we are seeing what is happening now. We just want you to enumerate some of these achievements to us, sir. Number 2, how challenging is it to be a VC of a school? Number 3 now, what are those things you think you should have done, and maybe probably for one reason or the other you could not, though you have tried your best, but what are those things you should have said, oh, I should have done this, but for this reason, for that reason, I couldn't. Thank you, sir.
In those 5 years, we have also had several interactions. So I want to tell you that this is a journey of partnership in a way. The media has been a strong partner in our engagements that we have. I would like to highlight some of our achievements, perhaps in 3 or 4 dimensions. As you know, the academic community of the university stands on a tripod of teaching, research, and services. And so you can look at teaching and research as an academic dimension. And so if you think about what, if you ask the question, what have you done in the academic dimension? And I'm glad we have been able to share this with you, that as a summary, there's a bigger, more detailed report. One of the things that we are very excited about is that we have gone from a university that has 14 courses to becoming, in terms of undergraduate courses, to becoming a university that has 40 courses and the largest collection of health and medical courses anywhere in Nigeria, and indeed anywhere in West Africa. Number 2, we started our postgraduate program in 2020-2021. My predecessor, I must say and acknowledge, left some good foundation for our PG program. But eventually we took off in 2021. So at 2020 March, when we came in, there was no PG program that has been started, even though there have been grand work. Today, we have a total of 60 programs that are running. Let me go back to the undergraduate part, by the way. There are something I need to underscore. That not only did we go from 14 to 40, which is more than 3 times that we have gone, we also brought in 10 new courses into the Nigerian university system. Those courses never existed before we came in. We were the one that wrote the advocacy, the plan for NUC, followed it up. And today, Nigeria enjoys a course like audiology at the graduate level. It never existed at that level. Nigeria now has a course like speech language therapy for children who have speech problems, and even adults who may have, say, maybe somebody has stroke and couldn't talk and have to rehabilitate. Because of the privilege of what we have been able to do, Nigeria has experts being developed in that area. Nigeria never had experts that has a concentrated program in occupational therapy. Today, by what we have done, so we have 10 new courses in the Nigerian university system, and a number of other universities are struggling to do some of them. The program we brought on, if you go to the Federal University in Ila, now they've taken 2 of those courses, they've started, and that's happening. So we are not just, it's just about starting courses. One of the things we have been able to do is to pathfind for the Nigerian university community areas where we need to put attention where we have not. So we always remind ourselves that we are not just a university, we are Nigeria's first specialized health and medical science university. So our job is not simply to follow, but our job is to lead, is to light the candle for others to see the pathway for greater engagement in health sciences education. Back to our postgraduate program. Like I said, in 2020-2021 was when we started our courses. Today we have 60 postgraduate courses, including 23 PhD programs. Again, those courses include courses that Nigeria had never seen before. For example, we are proud to say we have the only master's program in health law and policy in this country. And now, as you may know, we have top people coming for that courses. Last year, Governor Mimiko was one of the graduates in that course. Dr. Emi Mahmood, past commissioner for women affairs, was one of the graduates of that course. And now we have even moved on to start a PhD. Just yesterday, I signed the approval of 2 additional master's programs. Just yesterday, including one in social works. So we are a university that is we have continued to expand in terms of our master's program. In terms of the structure to run this program, when we came in 2020, we had 29 departments. Today we have 49 departments. We've created 20 new departments over the last 5 years. We had 8 faculties when we resumed duty here in March 2020. Today we have 13. Some of the faculties we have added include Faculty of Health, Law, and Humanities. I challenge you and encourage you as gentlemen of the press, go on and browse for that. There is no any other faculty of Health, Law, and Policy, Health, Law, and Humanities anywhere else around Africa. We are proud to have the record of being the first university that will achieve that. We are proud to say we have the first faculty of medical rehabilitation anywhere in West Africa. In fact, till today, we are still the only one. That's the faculty of medical rehabilitation, which we started a few years ago. We have the Olakunugbe faculty of pharmacy, which is a unique tripartite relationship between the private sector, our university, and government coming up now. We also have the School of Public Health that we started, which is more or less the first authentic School of Public Health in the country in terms of the way it is structured. And we have the largest collection of public health programs anchored by that school. One other area where we have also done extremely well is in terms of moving ahead in interdisciplinary dimension of our research. When we came in, there was no interdisciplinary research center. As of today, we have established 15 centers that are working in different areas, including Center for Molecular Biosciences and Medical Genomics, that's able to help this state in a number of ways. I mean, things like Lassa fever and other things. We have capacity. So these are some of the accomplishments in the area of academic development. One other area that we are thrilled about is what we have been able to do in the area of staff welfare. By the time we came in, our staff were being owed 5 months' salary. And it was not due to the fault of the last administration, not because they didn't do what they need to do, but the economy was in recession, and there were challenges. Since we came on board, we have been able to overcome those challenges. Not only have we paid, have we cleared that backlog, we have been consistently paying our salaries before the end of the month. And I also say this, that go around in those states and look for how many ministries, how many of them are paying something like annual bonus. We pay annual bonus in this university every year, except last year. And we didn't pay last year simply because there was palliative measure that we have paid for 6 months. And there's no other institution that I know, government in this whole state, that pay annual bonus to its staff. We are proud to encourage and support our staff in terms of our welfare development. One of the things that you might know is that we have a multi-campus setting. So we have a campus in Akure, but increasingly, most of our programs are expanding in Ondo more because this is our base. And so people have to come between Akure and Ondo. I hope you find time to talk to our staff. We have a bus that we put on road every day. Ask them how much they pay at a very highly subsidized cost because we want to support the welfare of our staff as much as possible. One of the recurrent issues in Nigerian labor field is government repeated announcements of all kinds of award, 25-35% wage award, minimum wage award, palliative. I'm proud to see that many of those awards, we have been able to handle them. As you may know, today the medical school in Ife, Ibadan, Lagos are all paralyzed because they couldn't pay what they call commerce award. The teachers are on strike. We started paying commerce from July. That's what our council approved. So from July last year, we have approved commerce. We have started paying the 25-35% increase of salary for our academic staff since last year. We pay palliative for 5 months. I think we just paid the last 6 months. So we've been consistently pushing ahead in terms of our commitment to the welfare of our staff. We also have been very much on top of issues in terms of promotion of our staff. Coming from a school like Ife, I know how long it takes to promote somebody to become a professor. You know, the length of time the paper takes to come back from reviews. The rate at we have promoted us at when I can bet it. There's no school anywhere, at least Southwest Nigeria, where the promotion is as regular as what you are seeing in Unimed. And if you take a look at what we have given you, you will find that this is not just words. We have actual numbers of people we have promoted. Yeah, but so that's what some of the things we have accomplished in terms of our staff welfare. Of course, one of the things that's more striking to people who have been here over the last 5 years is the amount of tremendous infrastructure development that had happened. The building where we are now never existed a few years back. And so we are very thankful for the kind of infrastructure development that had happened within our environment. Within this small space alone of the larger medical village and its extension where our medical hours, we have in that area alone, we have 11 buildings that we have started and completed. No. Sorry. We have 9 of them completed. We have 1 roofed and we have 1 ongoing. Just in the larger alone, not to talk about what we are doing in our main campus. Of course, when we came, there was no main campus because there was struggle over land. There was no permanent land. Today, we don't just have a permanent, what people call permanent site. We are proud that we had our last convocation at that permanent site. And for those of you who have been there, you see the rate of tremendous, the tremendous rate of development of various structures. Today we have the Faculty of Pharmacy ongoing there. We have 1 faculty building going. We have another classroom complex. We have a 200-seater complex. We have a student hostel, all going on there. And beyond what you see are the other things we have laid the foundation for. For example, tomorrow there's going to be the foundation laying for a new ICT building that we have gotten as a gift from one of our supporters. Just last December, we had the gift of another property from one of our benefactors, which we have turned out to our Unimed guest house. So if you take a look at what had happened in terms of infrastructure, just for academic infrastructure, there are more than at least 13 structures that had come up over the last 5 years that we have been here. Despite the fact that not many of these come from government. Government has been supportive, but most of these have been things that God has enabled us to be able to do through other mechanisms. I think that's a long answer to your first short question, but I'm sure you can get more detail here. That's why we wanted to make sure you have something in your hand that you can. It's not only in writing, but you can see the picture. I can go and check: is this true or is this fable? We have also done one of the other things we are glad about is our commitment to service, community service and community development. The motto of our university is for learning and community service, and we take that seriously. Over the last 5 years, we have impacted the Ondo community in a very significant way, particularly when it comes to young people. We've started an annual Unimed Science, Technology and General Mathematics program. We have encouraged young people to be innovative. Just this, for last year, we gave out the prize this year. Schools won, the first prize was 750,000. So we asked them, what do you want to do with it? Some said they want to buy a computer. We supplied them a computer. We want to buy this. We've done that now for 4 years. We also run an annual primary school debate. In addition, we run so many community outreaches. We have a community center in Ileoluji, where they're doing community dental center. We have in Okegbo, where we're doing some community outreaches. So we have in Ilututun, where we have another center. So we've been doing a lot in terms of reaching the community and trying to lift the community up from where they are to a higher level of development. So that, I believe, suffices for question number 1. How challenging is the VC job? Let me answer that question in a very practical dimension. One day, when I was the provost of the College of Sciences in Ife, I reached out to my vice chancellor, Professor Bamtale Omali. I needed to discuss something urgent with him, something very important, and he couldn't find time. So he told me, he said, Shegun, please come very early in the morning. I think he gave me a 7 o'clock appointment. He said, nobody will be around, just come. So I can quickly deal with the issue. 10 minutes, we'll finish. And I got into his office. 1 hour, we didn't even talk about what I came for. He was talking to me about the challenge of BAPC. He just put an article. I'm like, this is challenging. I just empathize with him. Never wishing to be in his shoe. Because by the time he finished, I'm like, thank you. Now I know, don't go near it. Believe me, perhaps the VC ship is the most challenging CEO work you can find in any environment. Because it's a CEO that is not exactly a CEO in the way people understand CEO. And that's because, number one, you are dealing with an academic community. If you bring two professors together on any issue, they have 3 opinions, if not 5 opinions. Everybody is an expert in his own rights. And everybody believes in the freedom of their academic engagement. That's one dimension. The second dimension is the fact that you are also having all different mix of staff, from academic to non-academic. Number 3 is their diversity of needs, particularly that happens in our environment where there's limited fund, and particularly in a school like ours, where we started up with an infrastructural deficit. And number 4 is the uncertain policy environment within Nigeria. Today, admission has no age. Tomorrow, admit only 16. Last year alone, there were 3 changes in policy for admission. Admit 16. No, don't admit 16. They come back, admit 16 by August. Thereafter, and between all that environment, you need to keep things going. You need to ensure that there is good results. You need to ensure that quality. I honestly think that the CEO, the job of a VC, is the most challenging CEO job anybody can talk about, as far as I know. I have been privileged to work not in academia alone. I started my working experience within the UN system. I worked for United Nations Population Fund from 1996 to 2000. I can't compare the amount, and I was an advisor to the state government, to Delta, you know. I can't compare the amount of pressure. I'd work internationally outside the country, and I know my job is this. But CEO of a Nigerian university is something else, extremely challenging, and sometimes just almost a very frustrating job, because you are operating under a challenging environment, and many times don't even have all the support you need to be able to accomplish what you have done. But that said, it's also an exciting job, because we are working with intellectuals, new ideas, new thoughts. And if you are privileged to have very supportive academic staff, like I have been privileged to have, then your job becomes much easier. But nevertheless, it remains a very challenging job, the most challenging CEO job I can think about. Your third question is, what do I wish I could have accomplished that I didn't accomplish? I'll tell you 3 things that I wish I could have done differently. Number 1, we started the Oluwakikugbe Faculty of Pharmacy. We have gone to a great level in terms of now we are about roofing siege. I wish I had been able to totally complete that building. I really wish so. We got our permanent land only in 2022, last quarter. I wish that in that short period, we were able to get to our permanent land to start staying there. We had almost staying there because the business is about to be completed. I just wish in another 3 months we'll be there. I wish we could have completed that and we could have moved in as we have desired. But you know, the changes in the economy of Nigeria, and particularly building costs, made a number of things different. The other thing I wish I could have done differently, or I could have done more, is our ODL, that distance learning and open and distance learning education. Because I personally believe that the future of education is not within the 4 walls of the classroom, but to democratize education by enlarging the border for open and distance education. But you know, there's a limit to that in the medical. You can't train a doctor by online course. You can't train a nurse online. There must be. So it took some time figuring out to manage that. And I think we are at that point where we have figured it, and we are about to launch it. In fact, we are hopefully to be having our distance learning center now in Ondo in the next couple of weeks, thereabout, months. So we've concluded plan on that. I wish I could have done more. One area I wish I could have done more, and which I honestly will have, if not for some of the domestic challenges we had, was the internationalization of our university. It takes a time to build bridges internationally. You need to establish a reputation at home before you begin to stretch your hand out. Because if you are not known, nobody wants to partner with. So we thought we would build that partnership after we have solidified home front. And we spent our last 1 year focused on internationalization. We have started a lot of that. In fact, I was supposed to be away last week to sign one of our MOU with a school in the US on our for our nursing program. So we've moved far in that. We've moved far in medical rehabilitation, with in terms of medical rehabilitation and potential for internationalization. I was one of the 4 people that USAID sponsored in the US in December 2023 to go and explore partnership opportunities. So we started on that. I wish we had concluded them and we had signed them before we go. But that said, we are glad about the things we are able to do. And we know at any rate that being an institution is an intergenerational endeavor. No generation can finish it, not to talk about one tenor. So I hope I've responded to all your questions. Thank you. Thank you so very much, sir. Mr. Vice Chancellor, Principal Officers of the University. My name is Bami Bola Gote. I'm of the Sun newspapers. I'd like to also congratulate you on the successful administration you had as the Vice Chancellor of this great citadel of learning. Do you have any regret of any kind taking up this challenging job of a Vice Chancellor? If there are regrets, we would like to know some of these regrets you had in office. Also, sir, this is a specialized university. What's the assessment of health and medical education in Nigeria? Have we really arrived? And what length do you think, what height do you think we need to still move on in health and medical education in this country? The proliferation of university in Nigeria has become something serious. Proliferation. We have so many of them. In Osun State, where I come from, there are more than 10 universities. In Ondo State, I'm sure there are so many universities too. So, Mr. Martin Oloja even said yesterday that the federal government should stop giving licenses to private or universities generally, establishment of universities. Do you have the same view, or what's your view about the proliferation of universities in this country? I also like to know the major breakthrough you have made in the area of research, the major research breakthrough made in the last 5 years that you have been at the helms of affairs of this great university. Let's know that major breakthroughs. Questions. Because of time, I'll try to be a bit brief about them. Number one, any regret? Look, my 5 years journey has not been a smooth journey. There have been mountains, there have been valleys. There have been storms, there has been calmness. There have been difficult times, there have been smooth times. But in it all, I have absolutely no regrets. Because life is about challenges. And life is about being able to triumph challenges. If you don't face challenges, you don't develop greater strength. So it's been challenging, very challenging. But particularly because God has helped us tremendously, and because I've had a wonderful team of colleagues who have worked at different levels, principal officers, deans, faculty, staff union, student union, alumni group. It's made the work sometimes mostly exciting. So I have absolutely no regret. I won't trade the last 5 years for anything else. What's the state of health and medical education in Nigeria? The answer is very good. My evidence: why will America be wanting our doctors? Why will Europe be struggling to have our nurses? Why will the Nordic countries be opening their doors to our medical applications if they are poor products? That's the greatest evidence that you need about the quality of our products. Because I know the Americans, the way they are, they won't want you if you have poor products. But they've tasted and see that indeed our health workers are good. You know, there's a Bible passage, they tasted and see that the Lord is good. So they've tasted and see that our health. Does that mean everything is perfect? No. There are gaps that we need to fill, and there are perhaps 3 major gaps. Number 1 is gaps in terms of the professional, how do I put it? The professional categorization, the blend of our programs. Our programs are concentrated in some areas and neglected some areas. For example, we have been having medical courses for the last 70 years, more than 70 years, that Ibadan started. Nothing had proliferated everywhere. But what happens to very important courses, like medical rehabilitation ones? Like I told you, before we came, there was no speech therapy. They are not present, and yet we know that those programs are increasingly more important. In fact, more important sometimes than the medical ones. Look, as we all grow older, we're going to all need rehabilitation at a point in time. As the world continues with industrialization and the accidents, we need rehabilitation. As cancer happens, so our programs have not looked at things uniformly. It's been a big skill to some area. Health information management. Without health information, how do you run hospitals? How do you run the whole dynamics around the health infrastructure and systems? And yet there is no single course of health information management in this country at university level. On the last 3 years, we have started a program, then we have PUC. So, in terms of the blend, we need to expand more to those areas. Dentistry. I don't know if you're surprised to know that in the whole of this country, there are only 2 state universities in the whole of Nigeria that have dentistry. Lagos State University of Medicine and University of Medical Science Ondo. Why? Because it's so expensive to train dentists. And you can only train a few at a time. So everybody is going to the one that are easy to do, where they can quickly make their money. You can start nursing. So what happens to dental needs? 95, 96, 97% of Nigeria have no idea about mental needs. They have never seen a dentist before. And we all should be seeing dentists regularly. So we don't only run dentistry, we are the only faculty of dentistry in this country that has a complementary of 3 degree programs. Dental technology, dental hygiene, and dentistry itself. So that needs to be changed. The second thing to need to be changed is also in terms of the investment in infrastructure for training. We are training well, but at a big cost to the practitioners. Schools are struggling. Institutions are struggling. Teachers are not enough because they are taking them. And so there's a need for greater investment in terms of what you do with the training, so that can deepen our quality more and enable us to meet the need for export as well as the home need. The third area that I think we need to do more is in terms of the research work that takes within the context of our training. Because research costs money. And the place to start building scientists is not when they graduate. Is to see how we integrate more and more of that into our training program and strengthen the capacity of undergraduates and postgraduate students training. So those for me are 3 dimensions that I think we still need to do more in terms of our health and medical education courses. Proliferation of universities in Nigeria. I totally agree with Mr. Noja that the federal government should stop establishing universities. Please mark my word. The federal government. The federal government. Because it does not make any sense to me that you have universities that you have not been able to fund well. It's like you have a family. You have 4 wives. You don't have enough money to feed them. You are marrying the fifth one. You are marrying the sixth one. Who does that? Which is what is happening. I learned that a new university now just started last week or somewhere in Ondo. And yet, ASU is going on strike. NASU is going on strike because they have not paid. Schools that you are running are losing accreditation because they have not provided resources. And yet you go. So it makes absolutely no sense to me that federal government should establish a university. It doesn't make any sense. On the other hand, states and individuals, private concern might be at a different level. And this is what I mean. Even with all our universities, does it mean that the proportion of graduates in Nigeria is high enough? Or does it mean that the quality of our graduates are good enough? The answer is no. So therefore, there are still needs. But so I feel that federal government should concentrate in funding more of what it has started, improving their capacity, but not starting more. However, states that do not have enough, maybe they don't, but even that, I doubt it that states that don't have enough. If you have 3 universities, what are you doing with 3 universities? What are you doing with 4 universities when you have not able to fund them? So I think states can carefully look at their needs to say, what do we have? There might be states, and I don't want to stay categorical because I'm not sure I know all the states of Nigeria and the university. There might be a state university or a state that doesn't have that I want to expand, but that must be done carefully. But instead of expanding, of starting universities, it makes more sense to see how you can invest in what you have already to expand their capacity to cover. But establishment of states, of universities, even as states, is a political agenda. Everybody wants one in their local government. So oftentimes it doesn't make sense. Now, for private, I think that's the most interesting dimension. There are 2 contending trends in private. Number 1, how many students do the private university engage? Less than 15% of the Nigerian population, because most private universities are really, really small universities. Many of them are struggling. But there are good private universities, and I don't want to mention names, so I don't seem to be advertising. So what's the point? The point here is the greatest needs that we have now perhaps should be focused on the private sector, meeting it more. People who truly have a mind for established institutions. Not people who think that institution is a business where they can make money. So there are still opportunities to expand so that more people can get quality education. I'm not talking about getting degree, because most of our universities are degree producing factories. They are not places that produce quality graduates. All of us have seen people who went to camp and they cannot fill the form, NYSC camp. What school did you go? So I'm not talking, we talk about Nigerian engineering graduates who have no idea how to manage. They can't even, you're a computer scientist. I met one recently. You can't even operate a computer. So who taught you? What did they teach you? What did they give you certificate in? So it's not just about the number of schools. It's also about the quality of what we do with the schools that exist. We want to know a little bit about the kind of research that we have done in the last couple of years that you think might be important. I'll use it so. One of the things about universities is about philosophies around research. Our philosophy, and I'm going to start with that, our philosophy about research is not just to do research so that we can publish. Our philosophy is about how can research truly change the dynamics around nation be used for development. So I'll tell you some of them. A couple of weeks ago, some of you may have been opportunity to be at one of our inaugural lectures. Where one of our researchers was talking about the kind of work they're doing in terms of kidney problems and pesticides. We have all kinds of kidney problems, but people have not looked at things like in our environment. What can be some of those issues that are peculiar? So that's one of the areas that our work has shown. That look, the use of pesticides and how we engage with them, heavy metals, is one of the reasons why kidney problems happen. Like I told you, we have a Center for Molecular Biology and Medical Genomics. One of the work they've done that's very inspiring is using molecular biology techniques to understand the process of twinning, looking at some of how twins occur in some specific areas in our country. And I'm glad Professor Rosangela Huba, who led that work, is here. You can find time to talk to her. I can tell you very proudly, we may not have published it in paper yet, but it will still come, that we use our own fund as a university to raise a team to go and investigate what was happening so that we can help the state government to solve that problem. Just last year, USAID funded 4 universities to look at different areas in terms of what's happening in maternal and child health. We are one of the universities funded to look at the quality of what's happening in our facilities in 2 states, both our state here and Ekiti state. And so, for us, research is not just about just do, but research that make meaningful impact within our environment. It may not make the loudest noise, but it's transforming life. I'll give you perhaps 2 other dimensions to show how our researchers are being recognized for their work. We have on our staff, Professor Olumide Ogundaosi, who was honored, was it last year, as one of the global honors for lifetime work he has done in the area of malaria. We have Dr. Ife Oyeyemi, who was honored as one of the 3 best female researchers in Africa. So again and again, that is happening.
My colleagues, and congratulate you and to commend you, sir, for the strides achieved in the last 5 years, sir. And to my question, sir, in 2014, the former governor of the state, Dr. Olusegun Miko, actually signed into law the bill that established UNIMED. And 11 years after, then when the bill was signed, it was due to the revolution happening in the health sector in Ondo State, which they actually plan to build on. But now there's this syndrome of this JAPA syndrome, where hospitals and state government-owned hospitals in Ondo State hardly can you find a doctor in those hospitals. We see this particular dream is this still on, and what can it be done to actually go back to what was dreamt of then? And to my second question, sir, a few weeks ago, the President Bola Tinubu, increased the age for retirement of doctors and other health professionals. Do you think this is a way to actually curb the downturns in the health sector in the country, sir?
All right. Of retirement in the health sector is a practical response to a prevailing challenge. We have a challenge that is multidimensional. The first is what you said, the JAPA syndrome. Many young people are moving away. And yet, those who are on ground, who are agile, who can still do it, are retiring early. So it's such a practical challenge to say, look, for those who are still on ground, who have the capacity, can't we retain them more? You know, one of the things that have changed in the world dynamics, in population dynamics, is the age at which people are dying. No matter the great names you know in history, believe me, they die before 45 and 50. But all the great names you know, because then life was shorter, lifespan was shorter. So retirement age was also a function of that. Oh, you have good. But now people are living for longer, they have capacity then, and you have a problem where you don't have doctors, you don't have nurses. So I think it's a very practical response if we use them well. To come to Ondo State and JAPA syndrome, and if you take a look at the latest NDHS, Nigeria Demographic and Survey, Ondo State has some of the best indices. In 2014, and I encourage you to go and look at it, go and look at the 2013 NDHS, in 2015 NDHS. Ondo State has the worst indices in Southwest. But now it has some of the best. What we've seen, and let people not be deceived. It's not based on what happened now. It's based on the investment that was made in those early years that we are now reaping the gain. And that's why it's always important that government makes significant, consistent investment in net development if you must see gain. But the Japa syndrome is not a question just for those states. It's a question across Nigeria. And I think within Ondo State, there has been some very dynamic response. I mean, the teaching hospital is striving to do more, but one of the good solutions in Ondo State is the fact that the University of Medical Sciences exists now. If you go to the hospital now, almost all the house officers are our products. We have produced 3 sets of doctors. If you are not here, you probably won't find any doctor. These students have not only finished being house officer now, some of them already are back as resident doctors. And so the scene in Ondo is changing because we are here and we are producing doctors and they are staying. So even if they would japa later, at least they would have provided service in the number of years. So I think that even though things have seemed to have declined across Nigeria based on this japa syndrome, the kind of product coming from us is particularly helping Ondo State to overcome this problem. And I think that we are going to be back on stream as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Question for you, sir. As you are rounding up, sir, your successor, what will be your message to him or her, rather?
So a generational journey. My message to whoever my successor is, and I'm sure I'm very hopeful that we will know that very soon, is number one, be a leader that listens to the people. Ultimately, leadership is not about an individual. It's about a frontal position where you're working with the people that you're working with. No leader accomplishes things on his own. Leadership is about accomplishing things through people. And so the first thing I think I would say to him, listen to the people, connect with them, work with them, be a part of a team in a sense, not somebody that is distal and somebody that is separate from the people. I know leadership in university is very simple. It's also different. You are a vice chancellor today. Tomorrow you are back as a lecturer. So there's no. So it's simply a temporary position of leadership. And so carry that in your consciousness that you are not special. You are just privileged, and you are going to be back as a part of the team. Number two, don't follow the Nigerian pattern of abandoning existing work. Nigeria, look, the reason why UNIMED has made it this far, one of our secrets, is that the governors of this state have all been consistent in sustaining this stream. I'm not a politician. But the truth is, Governor Mimiko started this. Great vision. But he left less than 1.5 years or so. After, if Akeredolu had not sustained this journey, this could be dead. So it's not about Mimiko starting. That was great. But Akeredolu sustaining it was the linchpin that truly brought this university to this arena. And within 1 month, that Governor Adedatua became the governor. Professor. Governor Akeredolu had promised and has started a process to give us 250 million for pharmacy. Governor Adedatua released that money within the first 1 month of his becoming governor. Before, in the 2023 budget, Governor Akeredolu, may his rest in peace, had promised us a Senate building and has started the process of 1 billion to release 1 billion to us. By last year, it took a while, but Governor Adedatua actualized that promise. So the reality about developing institutions is that it's about continuity, it's about consistent investment. And if you have that example from the state government, I think it's only behooves any sensible leader to say, look, this I met on ground, let me nurture. Add to it. Don't demolish things. Don't put down because you didn't. That's the picture we see across Nigerian spectrum, governance spectrum. And unfortunately, so if you look at states that have done well, there are states where there are continuity. So I'll tell the leader, please come with a sense of continuity. Sustain what you meet on ground. Go ahead and add more to it. But don't come with a sense of, oh, I didn't start this, so it's not part of me. It's not about glory. It's not about individual glory. It's about a goal of building an institution. That's going to be my next message to him. Number 3 is that the institutions must rest on a platform of quality. Look, the greatest university in the world, one of their secrets is that the primacy, they laid a great emphasis on quality. It's so easy to compromise quality in Nigeria. Everybody's on your neck. Everybody wants their children to be admitted for medicine, even when they don't pass school certs. You know, and all of that. So one of the things I'll tell you that is, look, make the relentless pursuit of quality across board, in teaching, in research, in service, your aim. My 4th point to him or her is this: don't run an ivory tower. You see, an ivory tower in the original sense is distinct from the community. Run a university that is deeply connected with the community and the stakeholders. Like I said to you, in December, somebody gave us his entire property. It's not state government, but because we connected with team and connected with community, you can say, look, take my property. We are doing a launching of another building tomorrow that somebody is giving us. So if you do ivory tower, you will just suffer alone. And a university like this needs the support of all stakeholders. Government support cannot but be minimal. That's the truth. The government has limited resources. It has 3 universities. Now it's turned another one to university, 4 universities in Ondo State. And you think the government will provide enough money. The government will do its best, but its best will not give you all the money you need. So you need to connect with the community because there's a lot of resources in the community. And number 5, think around private initiatives. One of the things we've been able to do by God's grace is that we have established a community fund where we have a board of 7 people, many of them coming from the industry. We need to strengthen licensing with industries so that we can get more resources to support them. Those are some of my tips to the next person when he or she is coming in.
All right, sir. I just have one question. Just one question. Ondo State 5 years ago, how much of Ondo State, or particularly Ondo Kingdom, do you know? And now that your 5 years is done and you're leaving, what are you taking home from Ondo State, particularly Ondo Kingdom?
Before I came here, I know a reasonable amount of things about the Ondo State health system. Many people may not know this. I had served as the consultant that came to evaluate a BA. When the first ABA building was on, that's where I met Dr. Lawal, when he was the director. I came to evaluate ABA, what impact ABA is making, and how ABA can be expanded to the state. That was one of my engagements. I came from WHO to do an assessment of our facilities in Ondo when we were talking about how to use resources to improve things. I served as the consultant when Ondo State got the fund from Ford Foundation to develop the adolescent health services. I came to develop the plan for them. I came to evaluate the policy for them. I came to evaluate. And those are just some of the work. I have come here to work for Ondo State Ministry of Health to help train their leaders in strategic leadership. But none of that, I think I came to Ondo town only once. Because Abiye was there in Nakure about Ondo State health system, but not the Ondo people. Now I know the Ondo people more. I can write a chapter of book on the Ondo people. And but Ondo Kingdom, you know, today with every sense of pride, those who have gone between the palace, I always tell them, I'm a member of the household of the palace of Osumari. That's how much I have become accepted and integrated in the Ondo Kingdom. And I'm not sure there's any major event in the Ondo Kingdom that I've not been part of. Either it is just mentioned events. And so, in Ondo Kingdom, and I'm not talking about Ondo State, in Ondo Kingdom, I have found a whole lot of acceptance and support and encouragement. In some of my darkest days, the Ondo Kingdom was some of my strength. I mean, I want to put on record my deep gratitude to Joshima of Ondo, and paramount leader of the Ondo Kingdom, about Dr. Victor Adesimbo Kladejo, CFR, the 3rd, and the wonderful Lori for their support. And the Joshima Council is simply be awesome. The Ondo people have been extremely, extremely wonderful. And as a child of the kingdom, I also will be challenging them that we can do more for this school. And that's one message I want to make clear to people of my kingdom, the Ondo Kingdom, that we can do more to lift up this school. And I begin to see a trend. The cabinet already had promised us the Ekmogun Hall. And a couple of the last few weeks, we've been interacting with engineer Awochikanko, who is the president of diaspora in Ondo. So there's a lot more we can do for this school. And I know that with cabinet now as the Chancellor and what we are seeing, the Ondo Kingdom will truly transform this school by God's grace. So I'm proud to be. What am I taking off from Ondo Kingdom? No, Ondo Kingdom are known to be very proud people. I'm not saying anything new. The Ondo people are known to be very proud. And see, that pride is not based on. It's not an empty pride. It's not an empty pride. It's a pride that has its foundation in knowing who they are. So one of the lessons I'm taking from Ondo is about the need for us to increasingly engage with our own foundation, our own culture, and take it further and take it higher and be very proud about it. I've seen one of the lessons of Ondo is that Ondo Kingdom established the first school, the first secondary school, Ondo Boys High School, 1919. In fact, the history of it is one of the things I'm very proud about. I mean, if you read the story, I don't know how many people know the story about how they established the school. When they gathered together, a team of 7 or 9 of them, and they reached out to the CMS to come and help them establish a school. And the CMS gave them conditions. They're like, no, we are not satisfied. We'll do it on our own. And that's how they started Ondo Boys High School, in the house of 2 people. So one of the things I've learned about Ondo, and I'm taking away, is the strength of community engagement and the strength of community unity. One other lesson I'm taking away from it is also about the beauty and the power of an engaging leadership. There's a way that the cabinet engages that for me is, it shows, it's the 3rd gentleman, but he knows what he wants. He goes about it in a very deliberate way. That's one of the lessons I'm taking away. And so, I'm proud to have been here. Thank you.
Appreciate the journalists who have come from far and near to be part of this media chat. We have interacted this morning now. We've listened to him. We have heard from his mouth directly what happened in the last 5 years. He has not left the pen in the hands of others to be writing the story. And it's actually deliberate what we are doing, so that he can tell his story and somebody will not wake up tomorrow to come and tell us the story of somebody whom he did not know when they gave birth to. And I will be writing the story. So I appreciate you. And beyond this, I want to appeal to members of the Senate who are here. Because Oga also is an engaging leader, he has led us aright, he has shown us. And we also want to show some appreciation to him from our end in corporate affairs and PR to top what we have come here to do. We'll be cutting a cake and we'll please plead with the principal officers that will join the VC to cut this cake. We'll also do a toast to the remarkable achievement in the last 5 years and some sort of cocktail before we move into the next thing.